We got off to a perfect start here in Season 3 of our realistic Borussia Dortmund career mode, defeating reigning Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich in the Super Cup and adding a second trophy to our cabinet in the process. Whilst it's nice to come away with some silverware, winning the Super Cup has never really been an objective of ours. Instead, our primary goal, of course, has been to win the Bundesliga, and that will be the case again here in Season 3. If we do manage to finally achieve that, we'll be able to increase our budget heading into Season 4 by 10%. If we don't manage to win the league, we are at least looking to finish in the top 3. If we do so, we can unlock the Win Now trait in the CoreDNA skill tree, and that would allow us to have 2 stars at the club. Players with an overall 6 above that of the club. However, if we fail to make the top 3, we can't even sign a first team player in the next transfer window. In terms of the Champions League, we're looking to reach the knockout stages, and we have tiered rewards depending on which stage we make. Reaching the round of 16 would at least allow us to keep the squad together, but making the final would allow us to sign those 2 top players. However, if we fail to make the knockout stages, we have to accept the first transfer bid we receive in the summer, no matter who the player is. And we're going to be creating some friendly competition in the squad this year as well. We've seen huge breakout seasons from both Max Bayer and Yusufa Moukoko. Whoever finishes with more goals and assists will have their squad role upgraded along with their wages, whilst the other player will see their squad role downgraded instead. And finally, we are looking to facilitate some more growth from our young players this season. We're looking to increase the overall of our under-23s by 10 this year. If we do so, we can hire yet another 5-star youth scout. If we fail to do so, we have to once again release the 3 highest overall players in our youth academy. Now, there are a number of players in the squad that we're expecting big growth from this year. Max Bayer being one of them. Arnie Engels, the new signing. Jamie Gittens should play a bit more this season after the departure of Julian Brandt. The same goes for Julian Duranville. Yusufa Moukoko, of course, is still somehow only 21 years of age, and we have all of our youngsters out on loan. These guys are going to count as well. And there's even a chance that guys like Leo Schultz and Thomas Davey could be in the first team before too long too. As for our youth scouts, we're going to continue to make sure we have a wealth of homegrown German talent in the side. So we're going to be looking for centre-backs, centre midfielders, and strikers here in Germany. England has been producing some of the most exciting attacking talent in the world in recent years, so we're going to be looking for forwards in England. And some of the best defenders we've signed to our youth academy have been Italian, so we'll look to continue to tap that well this season as well. Today's video is sponsored by Enigma Football, the UK's leading supplier of football shirt mystery boxes. Whether you're looking for a fun way to expand your own football shirt collection, or you're looking for a unique gift for the diehard football fan in your life, Enigma Football have got you covered. Their mystery boxes start at just $34.99, which is almost half the standard retail price, and you can be 100% sure that their shirts are authentic because they get them straight from the clubs and manufacturers themselves. And you can reduce that price even further by using code LAMBZY at the checkout for 10% off your first order. That code applies to any single football shirt mystery box, and it also applies to the first month of any mystery box subscription package, where you'll receive a fresh new shirt on your doorstep every single month. You can be sure you'll get a shirt that you like too. You can ask Enigma Football to send you a shirt from a specific league with a specific color or pattern, or to avoid certain teams, and if you still don't like what they send, you have 60 days to either return or exchange it. So head over to Enigma Football and place your order today. The link is in the description, and be sure to use code LAMBZY at the checkout for 10% off your first order. Shout out to Enigma Football for sponsoring the video and for hooking me up with a couple of shirts, including a Dortmund shirt for this series. Now let's get back to the video. Now, in addition to that victory over Bayern Munich in the Super Cup, we also got off to the ideal start in the Bundesliga, overcoming Frankfurt and Holstein Kiel 3 and 4-1 respectively. But we'll be facing some stiffer competition in today's episode, taking on the likes of Wolfsburg, Augsburg, and again Bayern Munich. That Bayern Munich game will be our featured game of today's episode. I'll show you highlights of our opener here at home against Wolfsburg, as well as our trip to take on Benfica in the Champions League, and we'll be quick simming games against Lazio and against Augsburg. However, before we get into those games, we do have the closure of the summer transfer window to get to. Whilst I wasn't planning to do any more business, having moved for Đorđe Petrović, Arnie Engels, and Thiago Thomas earlier in the window, there's one particular player I have my eye on, that I think could put our team over the top this year. And that player is João Cancelo. He spent the last 2 seasons out in Saudi Arabia after being exiled from Manchester City. But I cannot think of a player more suited to play that false back role on the left side of our defense. Cancelo oozes class, and he brings a wealth of experience of winning at the highest level that our young squad really lacks at the moment. Now, we have already signed our 1 allotted first team player this season, so Cancelo's arrival will be on loan initially, but if we achieve our objectives this season, he could easily be one of those 2 top players that we can bring in permanently in the summer. So Cancelo comes straight into the lineup to make his debut in front of the home fans against Wolfsburg. Bekir Omaracic comes in for Nico Schlotterbeck, who is not fit enough to start the game. Jamie Gittins, however, is fit enough to return after he sprained his knee. Wolfsburg are one of those teams that are tougher to play against than on paper it seems they should be. They had the better of us in the opening exchanges and could have opened the scoring a couple of times in the first half hour or so. However, we would be the ones to take the lead right on the stroke of half time after Jan Couto cut in off the right hand side, shimmied past the defender, and finished expertly with his left foot. And not only that, but we would double our advantage just moments after the restart too. Jamie Gittins picking out Max Bayer in the box with a pinpoint cross. The headed finish was equally accurate. 10 minutes later, we had a third goal, a quick counter-attack after Wolfsburg tried to get back into the game through a set piece. A clinical finish from Youssoufa Moukoko. Moukoko would soon have a second and our fourth, this time being slipped in behind by Karim Adeyemi before yet another quick break allowed Jamie Gittins in behind. All alone, he was never going to miss to make it 5. But disappointingly, just as it looked as though we were going to ease our way to our first clean sheet of the season, Wolfsburg grabbed a consolation. But as was the case in the opening episode, I can find very little to complain about in terms of the performance, with the exception of a late goal conceded to prevent the clean sheet. Clean sheets have been incredibly difficult to come by, and although the defense is markedly improved from last season, the clean sheet continues to elude us. But with only 2 days rest between Wolfsburg and Lazio, we're featuring a heavily rotated 11 for our first Champions League game of the season. Frankowski, Wilhelmsen, Martel, Röhl, Thomas, Mitoma, all players who come into the side for this one. And unfortunately, it does result in a 2-0 loss. Not an ideal way to begin our Champions League campaign, especially since Lazio went down to 10 men just after half-time. Which brings us to our third and featured game of today's episode against Bayern Munich, who'll be looking to avenge the defeat they suffered at our hands in the Super Cup. So without further ado, let's head over to the Allianz Arena and see if we can send a second shot across the bow of the reigning Bundesliga champions. So it's a familiar Bayern Munich 11. We may have even seen this exact 11 the last 2 or 3 times we played Munich. Harry Kane up front, Musiala, Elise, Ben Seguir just behind him, Pavlovic, Palhinha in midfield too. And we've shown in recent games that we've got a team that can go toe-to-toe with that Bayern Munich 11. And we have a familiar face to some of those Bayern Munich players in our lineup here today as well. João Cancelo starting again at left back. I think the ideal fit for that false back role on the left side of our defence, as Alphonso Davies immediately looking to get in behind us. A deep cross, ultimately looking for Michael Elise, and Karim Adeyemi could be away here. The pace Just enough to find Yusuf and Mukoko, but Adeyemi had straight offside. And I think we could be very well placed to come away with at least a result against Bayern Munich again here today, with so much pace up front. I've said it on a number of occasions, just the pace across that front four is just absolutely devastating. And we do have Matoma in today. Good challenge from Schlotterbeck. We do have Matoma in ahead of Jamie Gittens. And Matoma is certainly no slouch, but Jamie Gittens is even faster when we have him, Mukoko, Bayer, Adeyemi, all in the side. We are really set up to punish teams who like to push their fullbacks forward, which Bayern Munich certainly do. Harry Kane looking to get his head on it. Marcel Sabitzer, another former Bayern Munich player, of course, manages to head clear, though. It's a good block from Schlotterbeck. It does fall, though, and Bayern Munich take an early lead. Fantastic finish from Jamal Musiala, and we just couldn't clear from the set piece. Sabitzer initially beating Harry Kane in the air, but Anton couldn't head clear on the second attempt, and I think has actually gone down with an injury. But it's a fantastic finish from Musiala, to be fair. Credit where it's due. Just catches the ball so sweetly as it drops out of the sky. And we had some Bayern Munich fans there with heads in their hands. I thought potentially we were going to see an offside flag raised. But Munich do have the lead. And we're going to have to check in on Valdemar Anton, who is nursing an injury. Took a tumble after that last challenge, so we may have to bring him off sooner rather than later. Adeyemi in behind once again. I think we're going to be saying that a lot today. Lays it off for Sabitzer, and it's blocked. And away for a corner of our own. Give Anton another 5 or 10 minutes to see if he can shake that knock off. If not, it's going to be Bekir Omaracic. Adeyemi delivers the corner towards Schlotterbeck, but not particularly good delivery. Didn't really beat the first man. And Kimic's clear. Will fall for Mukoko, though. Kuto, who scored a nice goal earlier in the episode. Also an ideal fit for us on the opposite side of João Cancelo. And I really think Cancelo could make a big difference for us. We brought in Jakub Kivior, but he's been fairly disappointing. I thought the referee was a Dortmund player. The referee's kit, far too similar to our own. I thought we squared that nicely for a teammate. Apparently not. I think Cancelo could make a big difference. Kivior, fairly disappointing, but I mean, he's a fairly limited player, particularly going forward. And with the ball at his feet. So, how much really we could have expected to get from him, I'm not sure. Bensebaini's been decent. Probably surprisingly good, if anything. But again, somewhat limited going forward. And I think João Cancelo really could give us a different dynamic on this left side. Nicely worked. Cancelo lays it into the path of Max Bayer, who doesn't quite have the pace to get there. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Cancelo's so good with the ball at his feet. Could move with it, can pick passes, can step up into midfield, is solid defensively as well. And I think he could really make a difference for us and help put this very, very young Dortmund team over the top. Experience, something that we are severely lacking, especially now that we have come on, Petrovic, man. The first goal was a good finish, that one not so much. I think Petrovic should have done better there. But Harry Kane doubles Bayern Munich's lead. We have not started this game very well at all. It's nicely worked from Bayern Munich, to be fair. Harry Kane a little 1-2 with Elise on the edge of the box. And it's a right-footed finish from Kane. And that's far too close to Petrovic for that to beat him. He's been good so far, Petrovic, to be fair, but I think he's let himself down there. But at 2-0 down, we do have an hour to play, but it's going to be a long way back in this game now. Matoma finds Mecha. We are going to grab a result. I think it does mean a goal before half-time. did, of course, lose against Lazio last time out. Our first loss of the season. We had been perfect up to that point. So potentially that loss against Lazio stealing our momentum slightly. Couto collects from Bayer. Swings it into the box. Mitoma's in there to challenge. Headed clear by Bayern Munich though. Defending their penalty area well. They've been clinical in our penalty area too. And nicely worked into the feet of Musiala. Anton has had plenty of time to shake that injury off. And I don't think he's managed to do so. So we will make a change. It's a good save this time from Petrovic. Alphonso Davies at the back post, rising higher than Jan Couto. But as we said, Bayern Munich like to push their fullbacks high. And they're going to be exposed as a result. It's not the best ball from Karim Adeyemi. Do manage to work it into Jan Couto. And it will fall for Zabitzer, who will get the shot away. But it's blocked. Davis winning the header at the back post. Very, very high up the pitch. And it was a good save from Petrovic and a good ball to find Adeyemi immediately. Moukoko cuts inside. It's a good run from Bayer. Moukoko couldn't quite find him. We've seen them link up well so far this season. Moukoko and Bayer. Oh, and it's a good challenge from Mitoma. They really need to be consistent, on their game consistently for the duration of the season if we're going to be successful this year, I think. It's a big leap of faith selling Guirassy and expecting Bayer to fill that void, because of course whilst Bayer had a very, very good season of his own, Guirassy scored I think 15 goals. I think it was 15 goals, just fewer assists than Max Bayer. So we're going to be expecting Bayer to score, you know, at least sort of 20-25 to begin to make up that 15 goal deficit that we are going to be experiencing with that loss of Guirassy. We can't simply ask Bayer to match his production from last season. He needs to exceed it, and the same goes for Youssoufa Moukoko. It's well won from Schlotterbeck. Mitoma finds Moukoko, who finds Mitoma once more. Curls it towards the far post, but it's blocked in out for a corner. And we will make that change before we take the corner. Valdemar Anton forced off the field. We'll see how long he's out for. Hopefully not too long. Schlotterbeck. Oh, it does fall for him. Omaracic with his first touch finds Bayer, who just nods it across the 6-yard box. An intelligent pass with his head from Max Bayer. Nobody on the same wavelength. We do have replacements for Anton, of course, so we can certainly survive if he's out. We have Omaracic, we have Koulibaly. It's another strike from range from Zabitzer, unfortunately straight at the Munich keeper. You also have Koulibaly and Wilhelmsen waiting to make their mark on the first team as well, so we have cover. We've been a deep team for the duration of the series, to be fair. Maybe not always had quality at the very top end, and we certainly don't now that we've lost the likes of Julian Brandt and Serhou Guirassy, but we've been a very, very deep team for the duration of the series, and we continue to be so. It's a great ball out to Felix Mmecha, who doesn't manage to do the same. Gives the ball away, and Alphonso Davies will drive. It's an equally poor pass of his own, though. And Couto hooks clear. Well kept in from Karim Adeyemi, who spots Mitoma on the far side. And it's a fantastic ball. Very well kept in once again. Mitoma pulls it square for Moukoko, who can't quite bring the ball under control. Whether to take a touch and shoot himself, or more likely knock it onto Max Bayer, who had made a good run. Elise finds Kimmich. Again, very high. Elise once more. Nicely worked down the right-hand side, and it's a great ball into the path of Harry Kane, who hits it first time. Saved again by Petrovic. Really well worked from Bayern Munich down that right-hand side, and it was on target. Wasn't certain that it was at first glance. But based on that replay, it's a big save from Petrovic at the near post. Probably one you would expect him to make. But one that he did have to make. Max Bayer is in behind and he's onside. Davis, unfortunately, one of the few Bayern Munich players that could keep up with him, and he has. And Bayer's shot is blocked. And it's out for another corner. Sahin giving instructions to Koulibaly there, who could, and is actually probably likely. Schlotterbeck equalises. Pick up that ball, put it back on the centre spot. As I was just about to say, Schlotterbeck is almost certain to leave the game at some point today. Less than fully match fit heading into this one, but I thought it was important that we started him. And this is one of the reasons why. Huge threat from set pieces, and he's shown it there to grab a goal before half-time, which is what we said we needed if we were going to come away with a result from this game. A goal before the break, and we've managed to score one. This game now seems eminently more, maybe not winnable, but drawable at the very least. Just need to make sure that we get to half-time without conceding again. What an awful pass from Elise. I'm not sure if he thought the player on the sideline there warming up was a teammate on the pitch. He's just passed it straight out of play. Puto bursts forward. I think we just be conservative towards the end of the first half though. Really good running drive from Couto though. Pulls it back across goal. Quick's clear by Bayern Munich. Elise. 1 minute of added time. Bayern Munich potentially with an opportunity to create one final goal scoring chance. Ben Seguir just goes backwards. Surely the ref is going to blow his whistle, and he does. Thought he's going to allow the Bayern Munich one final chance to attack when it seemed as if they'd squandered it. Total attempt 0, goals 1. That obviously means we've used the pass button again to score that header, which we did. 0 attempts on goal, but with a goal to his name, Nico Schlotterbeck, and it is a huge goal. If you're enjoying the game and today's episode, please take a second to like the video, and if you want to see more realistic FC25 content, be sure to subscribe, not just to catch the next episode of this series, but other realistic career modes, realistic rebuilds, slider updates that might be dropping in the future. And if you want to get ahead of the curve and see those kinds of videos before anybody else, consider becoming a 12th man member of the channel. Membership starts at just $1.99 a month and grants you exclusive early access to all new videos, with tier rewards scaling up from there and including the possibility of being featured in my career mode saves. Thank you to everyone who is already supporting the channel through their membership. It is genuinely very much appreciated and helps the channel to run. But now let's head back out for the second half. Surprisingly, we actually edged possession over Bayern Munich in that first half. Slightly more than edged, really. 57% to 43. Didn't feel that way. Bayern Munich did have more shots than us, but it felt like we were under the cosh, really, for most of that first period. But possession-wise, that certainly wasn't the case. Surprisingly wasn't the case. And I think if we can try and dominate possession again here in the second half and just grab a goal, potentially from a set piece, now that that is an option again. Ben Seguir, that's Petrovic has made a meal of that, and it's bundled into the net. It's been an absolute disaster for the new signing, Dore Petrovic. What looked to be a routine save was parried up and into the air, bounced off the crossbar, and he's pretty much wiped out Jan Couto as he tries to clear. Just falls to the ground. I mean, he makes the save, to be fair, and then puts it in off his own knee. Just a bizarre performance from Petrovic in this game. I really thought he should have done better with Harry Kane's goal to double Bayern Munich's lead in the first half. I certainly think he should have done better there. Really disappointing performance in the featured game, especially when he's been so good so far. I've seen some really good performances from Petrovic. I've been really happy with the signing. But he's let himself down today. He's let the side down today. Let the travelling fans down. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that it's very much looking like he's going to cost us this game. Coco pressing high, can't win it. Ito, I think, used a hand there to control the ball, though, and he did. Makoko not with the most impressive performance thus far, so we may be looking to bring Thiago Thomas on before too long. Zabica, deep cross towards Mecha. Couldn't win it in the air. Musiala. And Davis finds Palhinha. Mecha couldn't quite cut it out. Mecha as well, kind of anonymous so far. Certainly going forward. That was a good run from Max Bayer. Probably should have played it into his path a little sooner there with Adeyemi. Couto finds Mecha. Adeyemi laid off for Makoko. Just plays the little reverse pass in behind for Adeyemi there. Couldn't quite find his teammate. Adeyemi continues to impress though. He's been really good. Maybe not today exactly, although I'd probably say he's been one of our better players. But just this season, we did of course lose him to injury last year, which meant that Max Bayer played out on the right hand side. Oh, nicely worked again from Dortmund. We had to cover the square pass to Kane there, which just allowed Elise to shoot. And we will make a couple changes before this corner is delivered by Bayern Munich. Merlin Raul to come on. Thiago Thomas on up front as well. Raul on for Zabica. And it's Makoko, of course, that makes way. And again, Petrovic with a bizarre decision there. Looks to be a comfortable catch, and he's come out and punched it instead. Oh, and that's cut out, and Adeyemi is away with nobody close to him, nobody within 10 yards. This has to be a goal. And Adeyemi does finish, and we are back in the game. Once again, we are just a goal behind. Really strange game. A little bit of pinball right on the halfway line. Springs Adeyemi. And it's a clinical finish. Timed it really well. Just as the goalkeeper comes out to make himself big, Adeyemi lifts it over his leg and into the far corner. And somehow we are back in this game once again. Disappointing to concede that third goal, especially the way that we conceded it. But I think if we got to this point in the game and it was still 2-1, we would have been happy enough. So I think to be just a goal down with half an hour left to play and every opportunity to grab that equaliser, I think we have to be happy enough. Even if the way that we've got to this point has been a little bizarre and a little frustrating. Matoma cuts inside, bit of a heavy touch that second one. I think that was Serge Gnabry. Poor pass. Thomas finds Matoma, who takes Kimmich on, and it's a perfectly timed challenge. Absolutely incredible defending. Bizarre pass out towards Harry Kane. And Matoma, it's a little too much on that. Merlin Raul does collect though, spreads it wide for Couto. Mecha finds Couto once again, who has space to drive, who had Karim Adeyemi up alongside him. But Adeyemi turned around the opposite direction for some reason. Mecha. Thomas. Oh, I just wanted Merlin Raul to hold his position there. He was perfectly placed to take the little layoff from Thomas. Mecha, nicely found. Strikes from range, blocked. And Bayern Munich can just set up on the edge of their box now and just defend their own 18-yard box with their lives, which is exactly what they're doing. Omaracic into Schlotterbeck, who's probably going to have to make way next time we get an opportunity to make some changes. Merlin Raul not on the same page as Matoma. Merlin Raul expecting him to come to feet. Matoma wanting the ball played in behind as he turned to make the run. It's a good challenge initially by Adeyemi, but Alphonso Davies persists, and again he persists. Thankfully it's a headed effort from Elise. rather than a right or even a left-footed effort. But Toma, I think we'll probably bring Jamie Gittins on as well. That will probably be our final change that we make here in the second half. Good position taken up by Adeyemi. And a good overlapping run from Kuto. I think we just have to loft it in search of Max Bayer, who's beaten in the air. And another bizarre decision, this time from the Bayern Munich keeper, who heads clear. Doesn't catch it, doesn't even punch it, but decides to lunge forward with his head. Nicely worked. And Yan Kuto once again is in behind. Again lofts it up towards Max Bayer. I was looking to get the shot away there with Kuto, but Davis just is so quick. His recovery speed, just unmatched. Can find himself out of position, but if you don't punish him immediately, he's going to be back on your case. Yeah, could feel that coming. Couldn't switch on to Schlotterbeck quickly enough there. Could see Harry Kane lurking. Needed to switch on to Schlotterbeck and make sure that we positioned him in front of Kane to block that shot, because we knew the CPU wasn't going to do it for us. Didn't manage to switch on in time. And it's 4-2 Bayern Munich, and the game is probably gone at this point. We will make our final two changes though. Schlotterbeck, as we said, coming off for Koulibaly. And Matoma to make way for Jamie Gittins. We may as well press to try and get back into the game. We have nothing to lose by doing so. But the 2-goal advantage with about 15 minutes left to play, does look like Bayern Munich are going to be able to avenge that Super Cup defeat and come away with the victory in the Bundesliga. Really good ball from Merlin Röhl. Kuto just lofts it up towards Bayer. Thought he might be able to win the header there for a moment. Thomas yet to make too much of an impact for us. We don't have him in a particularly... not a particularly unimpactful role exactly, but we have him in kind of an unsung hero kind of role. Kind of the Roberto Firmino of Liverpool for all those years. Just dropping into midfield, linking the play, not necessarily getting on the score sheet on too many occasions. Is probably going to be the case for Thiago Thomas. I think we are going to be looking to Moukoko and Bayer to get the bulk of the goals. That's well won. Kind of a Leandro Trossard role, certainly for Brighton as well. He's taken on a bit more of a goal-scoring responsibility at Arsenal for a time. But I think that's probably as much down to their lack of a true striker as it is exactly what they want to be using Leandro Trossard for. Poor touch from Davis. Out for a goal kick. Musiala will make way as Bayern Munich just look to see out the final 10 minutes or so of this game. And I imagine they're probably going to be able to. We had, interestingly enough, gone a goal better in each of our games in the Bundesliga up to this point. Well, just in each of our games. The Lazio game aside, we had a 2-1 win against Bayern Munich in the Super Cup. We then won 3-1, then 4-1, then 5-1 in each of our preceding 3 Bundesliga games. But we have come back down to earth with a crash. Losing in our first Champions League game, losing for the first time here in the Bundesliga. Great interception by Koulibaly. And like we said, that Super Cup win has not given us any kind of conceit. We don't necessarily think that we are ready to challenge for the Bundesliga title right this second, simply because we beat Bayern Munich in the Super Cup and took a trophy away from them. However, I think this year is a transition for us. Transition into that new era. Really looking to get some more experience for our younger players like Gittins, like Moukoko, like Bayer. And I think next year, as Merlin Röhl strikes from range just over, I think next year We really need to make sure that we are contending, and I think we can be contending next season. I think we need to use this season to build towards that. Merlin Rowe wins the header. Jamie Gittins, one-on-one with Kimmich. Goes outside. And it's a great ball into Max Bayer, but what a save. Jan Couto, though, with the follow-up, and he snatches at it. Potentially, we would have had a chance of coming away with a draw if we could have put the ball in the back of the net with the initial attempt from Max Bayer. It was a great save from Noble, though, to be fair. And Jan Couto had to do better. Just wouldn't quite fall for him. I thought we had an open goal. By the time the ball had fallen for Couto, the keeper was back up and well positioned. So we had to try and put it kind of across the keeper rather than at the near post, where it looked as though we might have an easy tap in. And that's pretty much an easy tap in. It's Kimmich in our penalty area with a 2-goal lead in added time to put the finishing touch to the performance. And if we were a little conceited after the Super Cup, we certainly are not any longer. We're being truly humbled here by Bayern Munich. I mean, the disappointing thing is it's not even been a particularly spectacular performance by Bayern Munich. They've been clinical in our penalty area, to be fair to them. On occasion, to be fair to us. And I think, whilst it's probably slightly unfair to say that Dordi Petrovic has cost us this game, the 2 or 3 mistakes that he made certainly haven't helped. But that's the most disappointing thing. It looks as though we were blown away by Bayern Munich, but really we weren't. It was our own lacklustre performance that's contributed to that scoreline as much as Bayern Munich's performance. We'll be looking to bounce back in our next game against Augsburg. We're going to have to do so without Valdemar Anton. He sprained his knee. He's going to be out for 4 weeks. Bekir Omaracic comes into the back line to replace him. Benzabaini comes into the back line as well. Merlin Rowe also joins Felix Metscher in midfield for this one, and we only come away with a draw. Ioannidis on the score sheet for Augsburg early. Max Bayer equalises shortly after half-time, but we go down to 10 men. Benzabaini getting sent off in the second period. So that fantastic start to the season now all but forgotten as we make it 3 consecutive games without victory. Looking to pick up our first win in the Champions League this season against Benfica, though. Koulibaly coming into the back 4 alongside Omaracic in place of Nico Schlotterbeck. Arne Engels and Thiago Thomas each start for this game as well. It looked initially as though we might struggle here again away from home. Petrovic forced into an excellent save early, and Benfica continuing to cause problems for us as the first half wore on. This shot from Pavlidis was wide, but a sliding challenge from Thiago Thomas during a high press allowed the ball to fall to the feet of Max Bayer, and he settled our nerves by firing past the Benfica keeper. Just after the halftime break, we well and truly established ourselves in the game. Jamie Gittins beating his man, pulling across the 6-yard box, and Max Bayer finishing once again from close range. It's been a somewhat bizarre episode so far, and that continued again here. Frankowski lofting the ball up towards Max Bayer, who opted for a diving headed finish to grab his hat-trick. Benfica did continue to look threatening in the second half, but that third goal really secured victory for us, gave us our first win in the Champions League, and gave us our first elusive clean sheet of the season. And the win did at least allow us to bookmark the episode with 2 good performances and results. What happened in between, we are less than satisfied with. However, we do finish the episode in 4th place in the Bundesliga, 5 points behind Bayer Leverkusen, the only team to have started their season with 5 wins from 5. Bayern Munich, though, are also undefeated so far, and it is very much early days in the Champions League, with just 2 games having been played so far, but we find ourselves in a comfortable 10th place. As we said during the Bayern Munich game, this is something of a transition year for us, so they're going to be downs as well as ups. We're going to have to take the rough with the smooth, but we will look to build on an overall positive start to the season in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.